Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's Fans official channel, where we share the latest updates, heart-touching stories, and exclusive insights into Sheikh Hamdan and the royal family dynamics. Today, we bring you a story that tugs at the strings of the soul, a story that proves that true love never ends. Hadia has been away from Dubai for 6 long months, but Sheikh Hamdan's heart remains unwavering. His recent heartfelt poem has sent waves of emotion through his followers, and we are thrilled to present to you the English translation of those poetic lines. Stay with us to feel the full depth of his emotions, wrapped in every word. Love, when it's real, doesn't fade with distance or time. It stays, like a soft echo in the chambers of the heart. Sheikh Hamdan's recent poem is a living testament to this timeless truth. Though Hadia may be thousands of miles away, her presence continues to dance in the lines of his poetry and in the pauses of his thoughts. His words are soaked in longing, hope, and an unshakable devotion that transcends borders. The poem begins with a gentle wish, "I hope you will be fine." It's a phrase so simple, yet layered with profound emotion. It's the kind of wish that comes from someone who thinks about you in silence, prays for you in your absence, and still believes in the bond even when the world feels distant. Sheikh Hamdan's way of expressing concern feels like a quiet promise wrapped in poetry. He writes of nights that pass like slow-moving stars, each one carrying memories of her laughter, her voice, her shadow. He speaks of a heart that listens for footsteps that never come, and a silence that feels louder than any crowd. It's as if the city of Dubai holds echoes of Hadia in its breeze, a city missing its muse. What makes this poem so stirring is its vulnerability. Royals are often seen as untouchable, beyond the reaches of ordinary emotion. But here is Sheikh Hamdan, a prince and a poet, laying bare his soul in front of millions. He is not just writing about love, he is writing from within it. And that's what makes it real. As he pens down lines about hope and healing, there's an undercurrent of waiting, a soft but steady belief that love will lead her back. Even the desert waits for rain, he writes, and I wait for you. It's this quiet faith that makes his poetry so powerful. It doesn't beg, it doesn't demand. It simply is, like the sun waiting for the horizon to return. Sheikh Hamdan's connection with Hadia wasn't just romance. It was spiritual, poetic, and deeply rooted in mutual respect. When he speaks of her, it's not just about longing, it's about admiration. He writes, "You are the pause in my storm, the stillness in my wild." Even in her absence, she remains a part of him, not just in memories, but in the very fabric of his being. His fans across the world have responded with overwhelming love, sharing how the poem reminded them of their own stories of separation and hope. Love, after all, is a universal language, and Sheikh Hamdan speaks it fluently. His words remind us that being royal doesn't make you immune to heartache. If anything, it makes your vulnerability even more poignant. As we reflect on this poetic masterpiece, we're reminded that distance doesn't always break bonds. Sometimes, it strengthens them. Sometimes, it teaches you that even without daily conversations or meetings, some people live inside your soul, always, gently, eternally. Hadia has always been more than just a name whispered in the palace corridors or sung in royal verses. She is a presence that leaves warmth behind wherever she goes. Known for her gentle soul and humble grace, she carried herself with a softness that was both rare and radiant. Those who knew her closely often described her as a breath of fresh air, someone whose silence could speak louder than words and whose eyes carried the light of understanding without needing explanation. Her loyalty was something that quietly held weight. In a world filled with changing tides and uncertain alliances, Hadia stood firm, loyal not just to Sheikh Hamdan, but to truth, to love, and to her own values. She never sought the spotlight, and yet she lit up every room she entered. Whether she was standing behind him during public events or walking beside him through private gardens, her devotion was unwavering and unmistakable. What made Hadia unforgettable wasn't just her beauty, but her emotional intelligence. She knew how to listen, really listen, to the unspoken. Sheikh Hamdan once mentioned in a private setting that Hadia had a way of hearing his heart even when his words failed. It was in her nature to comfort without asking, to support without conditions, and to love without measure. Her sensitivity was not a weakness, but a superpower. She noticed when someone was hurting, even if they masked it with a smile. She could sense storms before they arrived and somehow managed to be a calm within them. Sheikh Hamdan often admired how she could sit under the stars and cry for strangers, how she'd feed birds before herself, and how every little act of kindness came effort. Hadia's cuteness wasn't just about her outward charm, though her smile did have a way of disarming even the coldest of hearts. It was in her innocence, the way she spoke to animals as if they understood her, the way she would laugh at her own jokes, and the way she held flowers like fragile secrets. Her childlike wonder made her even more endearing in the eyes of the prince, who loved her deeply. Even the royal staff, who rarely express opinions about personal matters, spoke highly of her. They remembered her by the scent of jasmine she left behind and the sound of her laughter echoing through the halls. She treated everyone with respect, regardless of status, and that simple humanity earned her a special place not just in Sheikh Hamdan's heart, but in the hearts of all who met her. Sheikh Hamdan's admiration for her was rooted in her depth. She wasn't swayed by luxury or blinded by title, she valued honesty, sincerity, and faith. Their love wasn't built on public gestures but private promises, moments where time slowed and soul spoke. That is what still keeps her alive in his verses, because their connection was beyond this world. When she left Dubai, she left a silence behind, not a cold one, but a sacred stillness. A pause in the palace rhythm. Even the royal gardens seemed to miss her touch, as if the roses leaned a little less brightly without her presence. Sheikh Hamdan's poems now echo with her name, not just because he misses her, but because she was part of his spiritual journey. A muse who made him write not as a poet, but as a man in love. To this day, many believe Hadia will return, not because fate demands it, but because hearts that beat in harmony will always find their way back to each other. And if she ever listens to these words or reads these lines, may she know how cherished she still is, how deeply she is missed, and how sincerely she is remembered. Sadar, cherished viewers, as you reflect on Hadia's delicate beauty and her soul-deep goodness, remember that love isn't always about presence. Sometimes, it's about remembrance, respect, and hope. And Sheikh Hamdan, with every verse he writes, continues to keep her memory alive, not as a chapter closed, but as a story still unfolding. Stay with us for more royal insights and love stories that remind us of the timeless dance between destiny and devotion. Their love was the kind that poets dreamt of and painters tried to capture, silent glances filled with longing, unspoken promises etched in their hearts. They didn't need to say much, their souls spoke in the quiet moments between laughter and tears. Yet, no matter how genuine or powerful their emotions were, fate seemed to hold a grudge, casting shadows over every ray of light they tried to hold on to. They built dreams together, dreams wrapped in silk and sincerity, nestled in whispered conversations beneath moonlit skies. Their hearts beat in unison, despite the oceans of doubt and duty that threatened to pull them apart. Every stolen moment felt like a treasure, every embrace a rebellion against the odds. Still, destiny stood as a silent adversary, always one step ahead, unraveling the threads they wove so carefully. It wasn't betrayal that tore at their bond, nor the loss of feeling, it was timing, always the wrong season. When one was ready, the other was bound by circumstance. When one reached out, the other was miles away, not in distance, but in the chains of responsibility and duty. And so, they lived on the edges of happiness, always reaching, never quite touching the full measure of what they could be. Yet, even in heartbreak, their love refused to fade. It lingered in the air like a sacred perfume, haunting each place they once laughed, every song they once claimed as their own. It was a love that defied reason, flawed, fragmented, yet whole in the way only something deeply felt could ever be. They were each other's greatest blessing and cruelest curse. In secret, they wrote to each other, letters never sent, words never spoken aloud. In those pages, they were free. They imagined a world where timing was kind, where duty was light, and love was enough. In their hearts, that world existed, even if their reality never matched its warmth. These unsent confessions became their legacy, proof that what they had was real, even if it was never complete. Despite the odds, they never stopped believing. They remained tethered to a shared hope, fragile as it was. For love like theirs doesn't simply vanish. It becomes part of the soul, stitched into memory, breathing in every moment of silence, in every longing gaze. Though unlucky, they were true, and in that truth, their love lived on, eternal and unbroken, even by fate itself. We hope Hadia, wherever she is, feels the warmth of these words. And if love has its way, as it often does, perhaps one day she will return, not because she's been called, but because she feels her name echoing in every line, every verse, every breath of Sheikh Hamdan's waiting heart. Thank you for being with us today on Sheikh Hamdan's Fans official channel. Let his words remind you to never give up on love, never let go of hope, and always believe in the magic of connection. Until next time, may your heart stay soft, your love stay strong, and your soul always find its way back home.